toilets go, I guess you could say, I have to agree with you. We could have done a better job there. Absolutely, positively. Okay, it might be too late for you to hear that, but, you know, we could have done a better job there. But I'll tell you, there's a few things that bother me. When you talk about communication, and this goes for just in general here, not with the redevelopment or anything, I don't think there's been 3 commissioners as accessible to the public as we have been in the last 12 years. We return phone calls. We go out of our way to add meetings. We add meetings in the summertime so our public can, you know, I mean, I listened to you very attentively.
I am listening to you, okay, but you're not dealing with the questions. You are accessible. Look, you are accessible.
No,
you were on the playground.
I apologize for interrupting you now.
Please answer the question. I'm tired of the round and round and round.
I addressed the
Everybody
audit.
goes around the rosy.
I addressed the audit. Now, you know, I apologize for interrupting you. I'd like the same respect. But as far as us being accessible, if you go through the community, we're everywhere. We're at the Little League fields, we're at the school, we're everywhere. And as far as saying that we don't communicate with the public, I just don't buy it. Anybody comes into City Hall, we go out of our way to help them with any questions they have, and if we don't have the answer, we try to get back to them. Now, here's another thing that really bothers me. I understand that there is a new website, and I mean, it's phenomenal that you can put all these things out there, and it's wonderful. But I don't understand how the website, and people use this website, when they call the mayor a putz, okay? Here's a man, okay? 25 years, Ventnor Pirates. 29. St. James basketball, 15, and I've been at his side every step of the way, ask Commissioner Schaefer, okay? And the website calls Commissioner Schaefer, Mayor Kreischer a putz, and we are flunkies. So I just want to know if you subscribe to that type of website and you encourage that type of language in a website, because I was very offended. More so for Mayor Kreischer, who probably spends more time than any mayor in the state at his job, including the full-time mayors. So, number one, I just want to know if you're aware of that type of language is used on that website.
You want an answer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Very good. Thank you. I'm delighted that you found your way to the website because it was just announced today. And that's great. Now, communication that you talk about is great. But in my book, it doesn't include cover-up. Now, somebody calling somebody a name, I think it's despicable. However, it's on the Margate blog by Mr. Klotz, who's no fan of the mayor. We have links to Ventnor City's website. We don't agree with some of the things you put on the website because it's inadequate, it's incomplete, and in many instances, it's misleading. But the city's website is linked on weloveventnor.org. We have a lot of links. We're not responsible for links. You can go and find all the newspapers, the radio shows. You can find the beach blogs. You can find all sorts of things because it's a public service, a non-partisan public service, not dealing with any candidates. It's a non-profit. I'm not an officer or in any controlling capacity on that, but I'm aware of it. If you don't like what somebody wrote who's from Margate, complain to him on his blog, because that's where it comes from. That is not supplied, and I looked at this website carefully because I wanted to know what it had. It's not supplied by anybody connected with weloveventnor.org. You may find an article in the newspaper under a link to a newspaper that's really unflattering to people in this administration. We didn't write them. They came from, for instance, the Atlantic City Press. So I think you misunderstood who did what to whom. It's not the weloveventnor.org, and I disagree with anybody using foul language or insults. We can disagree.
Absolutely.
We don't have to insult.
Absolutely. I think the website, it's phenomenal. People want to put their opinions on there. It's great.
Okay, you and I agree.
But I don't subscribe to name calling. And, you know, look at Dennis Levinson's campaign. It was a big topic on talk radio, how clean a campaign he ran. And you know, we're talking, you know, calling a gentleman that works as hard as he does,
Okay.
names,
As long as you
is
understand.
it's just unexcusable to me.
I agree with you.
Some of the issues that you talked about, Mr. Klinger, I don't know quite where to start, and I may miss a few. As far as the audit, there are deficiencies in the audit that we, in some people's opinion, we should have dealt with earlier. But when you take a look, I don't want anybody to think that there's money missing. You use the word cover-up. I don't believe anything was cover-up. But the type of mistakes are that money, and you cited one of them, money accounts were overspent without appropriations. Well, understanding the way our budget works is that we don't pass our budget final to April or May because we have to wait for state aid figures to come in. This year was a little bit later because we applied for discretionary aid and we were waiting for that answer from the state. We adopt temporary budgets throughout the process. We put, I think initially we put 25% in. We think we're going to correct that in the future because we're going to put more money in a temporary budget. But we put money in a temporary budget and adopt that. Well, everybody's got 25%. Not every department spends money every quarter 25%. So maybe there's some expenses in the first quarter, first half of the year, where the money's not in the account. So, but we have to continue to do business. Something has to be bought. If it's a snowstorm, we have to buy snow. Or snow. We have to buy salt. We just have to continue to operate. So those accounts may be overdrawn at that time with the intent is that we are going to adopt another temporary budget down the line and the money will be in the account. But at that time, we need to operate. So technically at the time, the account was overdrawn. We need to correct that. We've talked about it. The new financial person said we should do our budgets a different way, put more money in the temporary budget in the beginning, and we think that we're going to address that. So, you know, you certainly depict a picture that, you know, we've cost as taxpayers about millions, I don't know, dollars. We don't think so. One of the examples in the audit was that we purchased state products under the state contract without a resolution. We misinterpreted the law and didn't think that because we bought it under state contract that we needed to do that. Did that cost us more money? No, we bought the police car under the state contract for, and don't quote me on this, but I'm just putting a figure out of the head, $25,000. If we had done the resolution, it still would have cost us $25,000, but we didn't do the resolution. We have now corrected that. The general ledger, I can let Drew McCrossin handle that. He's the administrator, and he's certainly more in tune with this than I, but we did maintain a general ledger, correct, Drew? But it was not in balance because it was done by hand by the December 31st deadline. It was done sometime after that. That's a violation. Did it mean that we didn't maintain a general ledger? No, it just meant that because it was done by hand in an antiquated system, we didn't have it in balance December 31st. That has been corrected.